Linc Phelps hails from Gympie in Queensland, which is a country music epicenter, and he has just released his debut album, Faith and Sweat, which has already produced 4 chart-topping singles, so one may call him an overachiever, but we'll find out. Hello, Linc. How are you?
Good evening, Soph. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well. Great to see you, and so enjoying the album, which I think has such a variety of moods and experiences on it that people can find themselves in it. Because I like to say the specific is universal, and I think you've given us a lot of specific elements of your life and stories from your life, and done it in a palette, if that makes sense. But I'm going to start by saying the album debuted at number 2. Now, it was only pipped at the post by the Wiggles, and I think you can take that to the pool room.
Yeah, I think so. When I was talking to Kaz from my label, she said, "Oh, you're not going to believe this, but the Wiggles are releasing on the same day." And I was like, "Oh man!" So, but anyway, look, it's yeah, I'm happy for the Wiggles. Good on them. They were part of my childhood, and now I've got kids, and my niece is about to turn 2, so big part of her world as well. So, yeah, they're doing their thing, and hey, they're joining us in country music, so they're coming over to the good side.
Yeah, that's true. And if the Wiggles are endorsing it, then it's officially a thing, the country music.
Exactly, yeah. And I've seen the hype around it in Tamworth. They were doing a whole bunch of shows with different people and filming things and stuff. And yeah, it's really exciting. And I mean, it also they're reaching out to a whole new audience for country music as well, which is really exciting.
Yeah, but I did love it when I saw that. I was like, oh well, look, if you're going to come second to anyone, that's sort of like an unstoppable force. It's like an act of God, the Wiggles coming into the charts. So
Yeah, they're a legacy artist, right? They've been around a long time.
that's right. But yeah, the title of your album, Faith and Sweat, is also the title of the first song. So I do want to ask you, how much sweat has gone into this album?
Oh, so more than you know. There's yeah, so much hard work from so many different people. From my family here, all the writers on the album. Nolan Wynn, Mel Lucan, Steve Fernley, Gavin Carfoot, the Wolfe Brothers, just through to the studio team was my band. Yeah, everyone, the engineers, Jared Adlam for mixing, Paul Blakey mastering, everyone. It just, yeah, albums take so much hard work,
Mhm.
and but they're so rewarding at the same time.
I'm also thinking of the amount of sweat, metaphorically speaking, that you've expended over your development as an artist, because you started young, and I think it was Ash Dallas who said that she'd been at academy with you, and so
Yeah.
you're a youngster because she started young as well. So the sort of work that goes into becoming a fully evolved artist, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. You start out young, you've got talent, you've got skill, you want to do it, you're hungry, but then to be able to put the work in to get to the point of doing this album, I would imagine it's been fairly constant.
Absolutely, and just a lot of time. And I think you can't rush these things. And I always try to say to I guess people that are entering the industry or starting their career as a writer or a performer is the right thing will happen at the right time. That doesn't mean sit around and wait, but yeah, good things will come to you when they're meant to be, and and you're ready to accept them.
I like the right thing happens at the right time far more than I like everything happens for a reason. I
Yeah,
tend to not be a fan of that second phrase.
me either.
It's
Because I
become
try and justify the good and the bad, the good and the bad things, and you sit back and go, well, why did that bad thing happen?
yeah.
What's the reason?
It's no reason. It's
Yeah,
become toxic positivity, and I do not endorse.
correct.
But I think that the right thing happening at the right time is also the faith element that I was going to ask you about, and it's a question of whether your faith in music has actually ever been tested over the years.
Absolutely. And I think every artist would have been through the same thing. So we're always our own worst critic. We're constantly, comparing ourselves. And there is, that old quote that I love, comparison is the thief of joy.
Mhm.
But when you're producing art and you are in a workspace, and there is people are, I guess, fighting for position and work and all those kind of things. That's just a natural, element of it. So it's yeah, you quite often do question yourself whether you're doing the right things, whether sometimes are you selfish for chasing your dream when you have a family and all those sort of things. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm at a point in I guess my life and my career where my family are a massive part of everything I do. And I like to take them on the road. And my wife was in the studio with me when we recorded the album and all those sort of things. And we work in the business together. So that's really important to me.
I think that balance you just talked about there or what you mentioned about, is it selfish to chase your dreams when you have a family? And it's something that a lot of artists have to deal with, but there's also that element of what you can show your children is possible when you chase your dreams. And I guess for you as as their father, it's saying, yes, I can take care of you, but also there is so much in this life that's worth aspiring to and worth chasing.
Yeah, and that you've summed that up really well. I think it's so important to be strong in your be strong in your values of who you are and who you were, I guess, raised to be, coming from just a hardworking sort of blue collar family and community. And that's what life was when we were younger, was working. I grew up working on a farm and that sort of thing. So I think it's about finding that balance, especially in our industry. We always talk about the difference between Australia and America, and it's a population density thing that makes a lot of American artists be able to play music full time and be recording artists and stuff. Where, and sometimes it's a taboo subject in Australia for people to talk about, but a lot of us have day jobs, and that's what we do, and we make it work. We run our own business so that we can work music in and around it, and yeah. So I think that showing the kids is having a good work ethic in no matter what you do, but also being realistic about, yeah, providing for them and stuff while still being happy.
Yeah, the population density issue is a real one for Australian artists, I think, for all different art forms, because it is just the sheer numbers of people aren't enough necessarily to make a full-time living. I talked to Brittany Elise, who's a country pop artist, a little while ago, and she's been spending a lot of time in Nashville, and she said, look, it's just partly a matter of population of the United States is so big that even if you're having a small fraction of that, it's just more people than Australia. And so I do often look at Australian artists and think, man, that's a lot of hard yakka, to use one of our favorite Australian phrases. But it is, and I think it's the faith and sweat of it, right? You've got to put both in and keep putting them in.
Absolutely, yeah. And the faith element for me comes from believing in whatever you're doing. In particular, when I wrote this song with Gav, and it was actually probably one of the hardest songs to write on the album. I could sit around and write sort of sad, mopey songs all day, but to write a sort of like up tempo, positive, sort of song was that was a challenge. And because you want to be positive throughout the whole song and talk about things that people can relate to. So the faith for me was, having faith in everything you do, believing in it. And I grew up as an atheist, and then I met my wife, and she believed in God, but doesn't go to church anymore. And her and I have had many conversations about that. And but you don't have to go to church to have faith or believe. And I found myself kind of listening to her and talking to her about it and saying, well, if you believe in God, I wasn't brought up that way, so I don't understand a lot of it, but I believe in you. So that's that's how it works for me.
Yeah, and what a lovely way to put it. I think it's also the case with art that everyone who's engaged in a creative activity would feel at a certain point, or perhaps many points in time, that it comes from somewhere else. And so that can be hard to reconcile with atheism, which is basically saying there's nothing else out there. But when your talent comes from the ether, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
it's helpful to be able to think of what that may be, and whether it's an entity, whether it's a universe, whether it's source, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me as a young, as a young fella, I lost my dad when I was quite young. So I think, I think that was part of sort of those questions that you ask as a child and stuff. And you're right with that quote, everything happens for a reason. When bad things like that happen, you're sort of left wondering why. So, to believe in I guess, a higher power at that age and not understand why those things happen. I can understand why I felt that way. But as I've progressed through life and I see other things and other blessings that I've had and our family have had and stuff like that, I understand why people do have faith in God and lean on him in those times.
Now you mentioned Gavin Carfoot, who has written several songs with you for this album, is also the producer of the album. Just because Gavin's a great co-writer for you and clearly a mate doesn't mean he's going to be a good producer. So what made him the choice as producer?
Yeah, so from the outset, Sing a Little Louder, the song I wrote with the Wolfe Brothers, was, in my mind, I needed to explore a side of me and a sound that was a little more commercial. So Gav had obviously been working in that space with a number of artists, and we got to know each other and stuff. And I thought Gav's the guy to help me achieve that sound. And then before we knew it, we had written a whole bunch of other songs, and it was super. I struggle with the word organic, but it was just natural. We sort of just, I don't know, just sort of happened, and nothing felt like a struggle. So that was a good sign. And Gav approached the situation in a very open way. So I wanted to bring my band into the studio and really try and capture the essence of our live show. And I think the greatest thing that he did as a producer was just let that happen. He steered the ship and definitely kept everything on track, and definitely made decisions, possibly even behind the scenes, that I still don't know about. And I think that's kind of for the best. And he just, in his really subtle, big-hearted, natural way, just made it all work.
Yeah, right. So you mentioned that you wrote Sing a Little Louder with the Wolfe Brothers. Now, I'm looking for dirt on the Wolves. Everyone has good things to say about them. There's got to be some dirt. Give me some, what was it like to work with them?
No dirt at all. In a nutshell, it was it was over Zoom. I think just post COVID. The boys were each at their different houses. Tom's daughter was running around. It was early in the morning. We had it done in a couple of hours, and that was it.
Right. Was that the first time you wrote with them?
It was, yes.
So for it to only take a couple of hours, that suggests that you found a rhythm pretty quickly.
We did, yeah. Actually, so the only dirt I could dish was that, Nick said a swear word.
Oh, shocking.
Not even in the song, but we we started throwing up some ideas. I had the idea for the chorus, and I said, I turned around and I said to them, what do you think about this? And Nick just said, let's throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
That's as bad as they get.
Yeah, look, I think it says a lot about the Wolves because everyone does love working with them.
Yeah.
So, and they're country singers. You're a country singer. There's my segue to talk about the track Country Singer, which is on the album and offers the idea that country songs are the remedy for a lot of what ails us. And I'm wondering which country songs have meant the most to you.
Ooh. So my mum was a massive Garth Brooks fan. Which in turn led my sister and I to be massive Garth Brooks fans. Standing outside the fire, the dance, the river, songs like that. I think as well, I grew up in the era of Keith Urban's meteoric rise around him becoming a absolute superstar in Nashville. So in my first bands, I was playing Somebody Like You, and all of those types of things. But I definitely remember listening to a lot of 90s country, and there were certain songs that just used to, I think, break my young heart when there was no reason for it to be broken. But songs like Independence Day by Martina McBride,
Right.
and all sorts of different things like that, that I just was absolutely, always in love with songwriting.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think but yeah, if I had to, it's hard to choose just one, but yeah, that's
No, and you don't have to choose just one. An array is good because
yeah.
it's also about your development as an artist. And there's a track on the album called Old Gympie Road. And because you grew up in Gympie, and as I mentioned at the top, it's a bit of a country music epicenter. The muster happens there every year. Do you actually think that growing up in Gympie helped shape you as a country music artist?
Absolutely. So the high school I went to had a program called the Country Music School of Excellence
Mhm.
that was founded by Dr. Jeff Walden, and yeah, I wouldn't have had the obviously, if I hadn't have been there, I wouldn't have had the opportunities. I probably wouldn't be here today. I knew that I always wanted to sing and perform in some capacity, but yeah, Jeff really was instrumental in starting that for me. And yeah, which was just so I owe him a lot. So Gympie was yeah, a massive part of my uh, country music story.
Yeah. I think Queensland in general, because when I was looking at the credits for the album, I was like, okay, well, you're in Gympie, Gavin's in Queensland. Jared Adlam is on the Gold Coast, from what I understand. So essentially,
Yep.
this album did not leave the state until it was released.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, the only part of it is the Wolfies,
Yeah.
from Tassie. So yeah, all Queensland, even the mastering. So Paul Blakey's on the Gold Coast as well. Um, yeah, all the other writers are in Queensland. My graphic designer is in Gympie. My photographer's in Gympie. So and we like to we've got some great people in this town. So we like to support the locals, as much as we can, and they're all part of the scene. So it helps, yeah, keep it thriving and growing.
I read something that you said about Old Gympie Road, though, which was that the Bruce Highway now misses Gympie, and so it's not a thoroughfare anymore. I'm wondering if for you, as someone who knows it so well, whether you think that's helped it in terms of giving a bit of breathing space to creative industries to start up, or whether you're actually missing that through traffic from the highway.
Yeah, I think I've had this question a few times, and I would have to say that I think Gympie is at a point where we've grown from uh, a large small town, if that makes sense, to a small city.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that Gympie is pretty self-sustaining now. There's a lot more industry here. There's a lot more people moving here. There's a lot of people that love to embrace the rural lifestyle as well as being so close to the coast.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say as far as taking trucks and all those sort of things out of school zones and through the middle of town, it's been an absolute blessing.
Right.
And I'm sure the truck drivers appreciate not having to stop at, you know, 12 sets of traffic lights up and down
Right.
hills
Yeah.
coming through town.
In fact, when staying on the Queensland theme, one person I failed to mention as keeping it an all Queensland affair is Melody Moko,
Yeah.
he lives in Queensland as well and collaborated with you on the track Dear Mind. And of course, Melody is a great artist in her own right. But how did that collaboration come about?
So I wrote the song with my wife, and we were feeling just really average one morning and wondering sort of what was next. And um, we wrote the song, and then I said, "Oh, I think this was really work as a duet." And we're all massive fans of Melody. I'd worked with her at the Songmuster,
Mm-hmm.
which is an event we run up here in Gympie. And yeah, to the point where I would hop in the car with my family, and my 11-year-old daughter is singing along to Jesus Year and Suburban Dream and a lot of Mel's songs, which I love that my daughter has, those uh, strong female role models in the Australian country music industry. That's really important to me. So yeah, I said to Stace, "Oh, I think Mel would really work on this song," and I sent her the voice memo that I'd recorded, and she loved it, and she said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So it was just, yeah, it was beautiful. And then in the studio when she she jumped in and started to sing. Everyone just looked at each other and went, "Yeah, this is perfect."
Yeah. Which is just as well because she was already there.
Exactly.
You do have another great female voice on the album in the backing vocals, and I was listening to it. I thought that sounds like Jen Myers, and because they really adds in certain songs this kind of like this beefy chorus sound. So is it in fact Jen Myers?
The one and only, absolutely. And yeah, so Jen's been she's a great friend of ours, for starters, and a great person, and a powerhouse vocalist, a great songwriter. And yeah, it wouldn't be anyone else. She's been a massive part of our live touring band for the last probably 4+ years.
Right.
So yeah, it was obviously a no-brainer to yeah, have Jen on the record. And yeah, we just love her. She's a bloody good person.
Now you mentioned that the two of you worked together in Songmuster. So, or did you say maybe I'm transposing? Maybe I was thinking Jen does work at Songmuster, and you have mentioned Songmuster.
Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know what Songmuster is, it sounds a little like what happens at the Dag Sheep Station, but
Yep.
without the plucking of the names out of the hats.
Yeah, basically. So it's run in Gympie every 12 months around June, and usually falls in the school holidays. And it's 4 or 5 days of yeah, songwriting, basically, of a songwriting camp. So Jen Myers, Melody Moko, myself, Gavin Carfoot, and Lawrence and Claire from a duo called Those Folk. And it's just awesome. I think I think this will be our 5th year, and I think we've had I want to say about over 80 participants. Um, and it's great. A whole lot of songs have been written there that have gone on to be recorded, make numerous charts and those sort of things. So yeah, it's a really great supportive songwriting community.
So if someone would like to be part of Songmuster, are applications open now, or do they open a bit closer to the time?
They open a little closer to the time. So yeah, Gav takes care of those along with Kerry Eaton from the Australian Institute of Country Music.
Mm-hmm.
So you can jump on that website or the Songmuster Facebook page and get some more info. Yeah.
Now, that all sounds very wholesome, and now I'm going to move on to talking about the two songs that have whiskey in the title because they are next to each other. They're next to each other in the track list.
They
so
are.
I think the logical question to ask you is, which whiskey is your favourite?
Oh, I'm actually a pretty big fan of Jameson. So I like an Irish whiskey. Is a little Jameson and little lemonade, or maybe a ginger ale. Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
I'm actually not a whiskey drinker, but in all my years, I've never heard anyone mention lemonade with whiskey.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little, just a dash. So
Right.
plenty of ice and just a little dash. But yeah.
A
So
macchiato, but a whiskey form. Like instead of a dash of milk
yeah,
in your coffee, it's a dash of lemonade in your whiskey.
basically, yeah. It's like a
I've,
whiskey shandy.
I have learned something, Link. Don't think I'm going to run out and try it, but
Nah.
but no, I mean those yeah, they're actually lovely whiskey songs. It's not like
Thank
there's
you.
hard drinking kind of I'm at the bottom of the proverbial barrel or literal barrel here. It's yeah. So
No.
where did they come from?
So Coffee Whiskey Love was written at an event called Song Culture, which was another songwriting camp in Brisbane, and that was with Nolan Wynn and Mel Lucan, both Queenslanders again. So we got talking about Nolan's parents were, quite elderly, and we got talking about the fact that sort of like feeling a bit of empty nest and how you keep that flame alive when you've been together so long and you have been through all the stages of life, raised the kids in the house, seen them off to college and stuff, and then they've all moved out and things like that, and it's just the two of you back at home again. So we started talking about the three things that would make up a day, and that was things you need. So you need coffee in the morning, you need a whiskey in the evening, and you always need love. So that's how that one came about. Then another whiskey was it's just a good. I'm a massive Delbert McClinton fan. I love honky tonk and swing music and those sorts of things, and New Orleans. So another whiskey was just basically about if you've had a pretty average week and all the things are going on, what's going to fix it? Just another whiskey. Why not?
Yeah, it's interesting hearing that background to coffee, whiskey, and love because I can hear that in your voice. There's almost like a nostalgic sort of tone to your voice, and it does sound reflective. And it made me think. I don't think Lincoln's singing about himself here because it did sound like the story of someone who was looking back on life in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just say thank you because that's a really nice compliment to receive as a singer. Because you want to if you're singing about things that you've experienced, you want people to understand. But if you're singing a story about someone else, you want people to, I guess, imagine and use their paint the pictures, I guess, with the words. So yeah, thank you. That's a really really nice thing to say, and I'm glad that that message and story it is getting across, and it's a beautiful. I love singing that song. I loved writing it, and it's a beautiful kind of. It's a beautiful picture I still paint in my head when I sing it. And I was driving along the street yesterday and I saw a couple walking and just holding hands, and I was like, oh, that's those sort of things, just those little simple things in life, the things that we hold on to.
Mm-hmm. Now, the last track on the album is Green Valley, and it is dedicated to the memory of your daughter, Denver Grace. And I think as an artist, it makes sense that you want to address her loss in your music, but that doesn't mean that it's automatic to do that. So did it take you a while to write this song?
Absolutely. So Gav actually came to me with the idea. He had seen a memorial message that we had put up, and he had done some research around Denver's name and things like that, and it was actually he discovered that the word Denver means a quiet place, or in a green valley. So I owe so much to Gav around this record and just being a really good friend, and the gift of bringing that idea to me and my family. And so yeah, when we sat down and finished the rest of the song together, um, it was raw, it was emotional, but it was so beautiful and healing at the same time. And I remember recording an acoustic demo and bringing it home to play for my wife, and it was just it's such an important part of our story as a family. And Gav, I still can't believe the way he was able to sort of put into words what something so beautiful to say and for people to understand.
I think giving it a place, a name as well, it reminds me of something that was said by the author Ruth Parks. So she wrote Poor Man's Orange, Harpin South, the children's book playing Betty Bow. She's been dead quite a few years, but her husband, Darcy Nyland, died quite young, and she never remarried. And she was asked at a certain point why. And she said, why should I stop loving him just because he's in another country? And sort of
Beautiful.
in hearing your song and putting a place to I think where your daughter is and saying you'll see her there one day is that same idea of she's in another country. It's just that she happens to be in a green valley.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, thank you for saying that. That's it's beautiful. And I think that there should be there should be absolutely no shame or stigma or anything around talking about these things. Especially for especially for parents, and if it was your first child in particular. I think there's a massive that's a massive thing to then work through to to then, obviously have another child and those sort of things. So yeah, no one's alone, and it's a really scary and can be a horrible time, but like I said, it's a massive part of our story, and Gav really helped to share it with the world, and I'm forever grateful to him for that.
I imagine it was not that easy to record, though.
No, not at all. And I just wanted to do it justice. I wanted to do it justice for Denver, for my wife, Stace, Denver's brothers and sisters, and Gav as well. It's just a beautiful gift, and I'll never be able to repay him for his vision and being able to see it, for what it is, and tell and be able to help me talk about it.
Mm-hmm. My impression of this album that it shows us a lot of what's important to you, but not all of it, which is as it should be, because you can't be contained in one album, I think is fair to say. And there are choices to be made for any artist in putting together a body of work, what to put in and what to leave out. So I'm wondering if there are any songs that did not make the cut.
Yeah, so there's a few. So I, like most artists, probably get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
And about a month ago, I remember I sent Gav another song that I'd just written, and I wrote quite a few in Tamworth this year. I just felt really inspired, and I would sort of go home at the end of the night, or go home for lunch and stuff, and I'm like, Gav, what about this? What do you think for album number 2? And he's like, hey man, that's great, but just woo up, like, this album isn't even out yet. You need to go and promote this one and share it with the world and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. But the shiny new thing.
Right? It's like, oh, I got a new song. You guys need to hear it, So, and again, so Kaz, from our label Red Rebel, and my wife Stace, they're all pretty well versed now in sort of just like slowing me down a little bit and making sure things are done, things are done right and not just rushed. Right.
It's also the case that, with the new album coming out, you will probably be taking it on the road. You're going to be with those songs for a while yet. So are there festivals in your future? I imagine Gympie is on the list.
Gympie is on the list, yeah. So, which is very exciting. Great lineup so far. And obviously Hometown Festival, one of our favorites. And I just love the community vibe and the family element of the Gympie muster. That's so important, and it's a massive part of Gympie's identity. And we'll also be down Sydney way. I can't say what the festival is just yet, but a little bit later in the year we'll be down Sydney way as well. And then Town and Country Festival in Brisbane early May as well. So so quite a few dates rolling into the calendar, which is really, really nice.
Well, given that I'm in Sydney and you're mentioning a festival, I'm thinking, what festival?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
that's a town and country in Brisbane. There are so many country music festivals in Queensland. So I now think Queensland in general is the home of country music. I know I shouldn't say that when Tamworth exists, but I see like Queensland's very fertile ground.
Absolutely.
And you're out from it as well. So, Linc, it's been great to talk to you about Faith and Sweat. People can find you at those various festivals, including the unnamed one.
Yes.
And in the meantime, they can listen to the album. Congratulations. It's a great piece of work.
Thank you so much, Soph. I appreciate it. And I love it. It's so nice to have new music out in the world. And I know there's a lot of people that have been waiting quite a long time for this. So thanks for sticking in with me, guys. And I appreciate it.
Thanks for talking to me. Bye.
Thanks.